Welcome to Area DMG.
Welcome back to Area DMG. I am your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and today we're going to talk a little bit about, well, the first 15. Or rather, we're going to look at Moana. The first 15 minutes of Moana. You know what we do with these? We look at the first 15 minutes of a movie and tell you whether or not the movie is successful in getting you to watch the rest of it via that first 15. So, the first thing you see in Moana, after almost a minute of logos, actually, we're going to give it an extra minute because of the minute of logos, is a cloth, or rather thin wood tapestry of waves that signify the ocean, and the tapestry is covered in little triangles pointing multiple directions, the layers of the waves moving in opposite directions, unified, together, and fluid. The idea is that what we are is a constant, but how we are is not. You know what I mean? Kind of like you are a constant, but you are also not a constant. The way you are is a constant movement, but what you are is not a constant. Meaning you can be shifted or waved or moved through things. And then we are introduced to Te Fiti, the mother island, and the concept of her heart being able to create life. She then goes to sleep. Also, we get to see the monsters, including that shiny crab and the coconut pirates, preparing to try and find the heart of Te Fiti, because it controls all life. We are then introduced to Maui. He's not painted as a good character in the beginning as well. Actually, they go ways away to make sure that you don't really clearly see his tattoos either, which is interesting. Anyways, his powers are explained, and he steals the heart and starts a curse. We are also introduced to Taka, and we get a great action sequence between Maui and Taka, which results in the heart, Maui, and the fishhook vanishing. And there we go. By the way, I do want to mention that Maui is a demigod of the wind and sea, and Taka is a demon of earth and fire. There's a little bit of an opposite dynamic there, you know? It's like the wind, air, water, earth, fire. You know what I mean. Anyhow, we are then introduced to our narrator, who is Moana's grandmother. And we are introduced to Moana as a young child, just enraptured with the story, which is funny because everyone else is terrified of it. I just love that little thing. She's like, ah! And everyone's like, ooh! And she's like, ah! It's funny. Anywho, we're also given the exact plot of the movie, although there are some little twists to it which they add in. We're also introduced to Moana's dad and the central conceit of the story's first opening parts. They don't leave the island because it's safe and comfortable, and because the underlying trauma of the open sea. You see, when the oceans grew rough and the monsters appeared, the trauma of all this caused the characters to push inwards and stay where it is safe. Funny that the entirety of Moana is actually a metaphor for an abusive relationship. You have Maui at first. We'll get into a little bit of that, but the heart is stolen. And that causes everything bad. Because there's no heart to it. Well, we'll get to that. Then we see Moana wander out of the hut. You know, because there's this whole little sequence that's kind of funny. The kids freak out. All the monsters are shown, etc. And she wanders out of the hut where the story is being told and interacts for the first time. We see her interact with the ocean. She's lured to the ocean as a test with a shell. But then she notices a turtle in distress. You see, I think the ocean is testing her at this point. If she'd gone for the shell and not the turtle, she probably would have been lured in with more shells and drowned by the ocean. Yay! No, she goes to protect the turtle, which is why there's a turtle on the boat that she eventually takes out to sea. Pay attention to what's happening in the background here, because there is a lot in Moana. A lot of nice little details. It's an interesting callback. Also, the turtle test is looking for an emotional resolve to do the right thing. It's kind of like the test given to replicants in Blade Runner. You see, in that test in Blade Runner is actually about how you empathize with something. You know, you see a turtle in the desert, that type of thing. Anywho, the ocean is looking for something. The turtle itself is actually a stand-in for Maui. It's helpless to return on its own, and the turtle needs Moana's help. and she then helps it when it needs the help. But most importantly, she just protects it on its journey to the ocean. She doesn't pick up the turtle and put it in the ocean. She lets the turtle get there by itself. She just protects it along the way. And that's the point of that whole bit there. Not to pick up the turtle and return it, but to let the turtle get to the ocean by itself and protect it during that from, the birds. Little mine birds or whatnot from Finding Nemo or whatnot. Anyways, the ocean then presents her more shells, and then finally, the heart of Te Fiti. Her father finds her, and then we are given a montage and song explaining the island, the right of succession, Moana's reluctance to take her place as the leader of the island, the part where they build that tower of rocks on the highest platform to raise the island a little higher, end quote, and the basic culture of the island. I love the culture of the island in this, seriously. The part where they show Moana in that headdress, absolutely fantastic. We're also shown both animal sidekicks in the film, as well as the issue with the island slowly dying to the curse. We're shown this, a lot of this, we're told a little bit, but we're shown mostly. Also, we get a bit about the dispute between Moana's father and her grandmother. The father is a bit of a progressive, if you will. I know you're going to be like, wait, but doesn't he want to stay on the island and be safe? Yeah. But in the true sense of the word. You see, he wants to ignore the past. A progressive doesn't learn from the past. They look to the future blindly and stumble toward it, and that's why they're so dangerous and horrible. Anyways, he wants to ignore the past ways and look forward, whereas his mother wants to look to the past and learn of the future through it, representing, I guess you could say, the true nature of conservatism, in that there's an emphasis on respecting and understanding the old ways, religious stories, and traditions. In other words, real conservatism isn't so much about following the past, it's about learning from the past. You look at your foundations first. You build those foundations strong, and then you use them to branch out. You go with a purpose. You go with a plan. You don't blindly go out into the ocean and drown. Anywho, we're just given the way like she makes everyone uncomfortable in there too. The grandmother is kind of referred to as like the crazy lady in this, and she's uncomfortable. She makes the modern society around her uncomfortable. I mean, near the 15-minute mark, we're given a bit of a blow-up between Moana and her father in regards to the ocean and sailing. Of course, we had a minute of studio logos. I mentioned that earlier, so I'm going to give this movie one more minute. So I'll give Moana until the 16-minute mark. That final minute is where we see Sina, Moana's mother, who actually is based off of another thing in Polynesian culture. Like coconuts and things. Maui makes a reference to it, by the way. Anyways, she gives a story to Moana and explains the real reason why her father is so harsh about sailing. It's because he's hurt. He couldn't save a friend of his who drowned, and this trauma keeps him in check. His guilt keeps him in check. Her explanation about it is really, really, really important, actually. The movie is actually about recovery from trauma and abuse. That's why it starts with someone stealing another's heart. And the rage and the disaster that it invites, the curse it invites. Oh, by the way, I feel like the father is a bit like King Triton, and the character designs kind of borrow heavily from Glenn Keane and Chris Sanders. The pig is totally a Sanders design, and most of Moana looks like she was kind of based off of some stuff from Glenn Keane. Is it Glenn Keane? Yeah, it's Keane. Yeah. Wait, no, is it Chris? I'm trying to remember. Who is the designer for The Little Mermaid? Let me actually look that up real quick, because a lot of this feels like an apology for some of the stuff in there, like some of the strange designs to it. You know what I mean? What's the best way to put it? Let's see. Checking Wikipedia for the Disney one. Dun 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 dun. What was the guy's name? I'm sorry, it feels like I'm stalling a little bit for time. I'm not. I'm actually just looking real quick to find the character here. Let's see. We got okay. Who is her designer? Glenn Keane. It is right. I was right. I said Glenn Keane. That's right. Because sometimes I feel like, wait, Glenn Keane, is that the guy behind the full like Family Circus or something? It sounds like that, doesn't it? Because like you've got, wait, I think that's Bill Keane, isn't it? I don't remember. Oh well, Glenn Keane. Yeah. Anyways, I feel like I was bringing up The Little Mermaid because this movie kind of feels like a perfection of some of the themes in The Little Mermaid, as well as kind of an apology, although we have Moana longing for the ocean and Ariel longing for the land, although Ariel's daughter in the second movie longs for the land, and then Ariel's like, no, the ocean is dangerous, so she builds a wall around the kingdom to keep the ocean out. Maybe people should go and reevaluate The Little Mermaid 2 and The Little Mermaid 3 and Cinderella 2 and 3. There might be something there that they didn't see before. There might be something there that wasn't there before. Oh, we'll do Beauty and the Beast too. Oh gosh, I have things to say about that. Anywho, what's funny about this is that this is kind of an apology for The Little Mermaid in a way. This film actually really does go into, like, the characters are given real choices, real stakes, and their family actually gives them real support. There is an amazing section in this, like, when Moana finally does leave the island, where in the matter of 30 seconds, just the most important part of the film. She's running there. I'm not going to say what happens if you haven't seen the film yet, but she starts packing to go on a trip. And then she runs into, she's stopped by her mom, who, instead of stopping her, supports her decision. And it's that part's important because it really illustrates why Moana is one of the better Disney films out there, actually. This is a Disney movie, princess movie, where the princess is allowed to fail. And every character is allowed to, and often does, fail. After the 16-minute mark ends and Cena gives Moana a speech about accepting that some things just don't happen the way we want them to, which is a good life lesson, we get a, quote, hero song from Moana, end quote, that nearly kills her. Anyway, I mean, like I said, it feels like an apology for earlier Disney princess movies. Although there's an issue. I mean, you could replace Moana with a male character and there'd be no difference in the plot other than maybe some use of verbs or the use of identifiers. Like instead of be like, oh, you're just a spoiled prince instead of a spoiled princess. Literally, you could swap Moana out with a boy and it would be the same story. Same person, like, oh yeah, you're gonna take over the village. Everything there. Her the fact that she's a princess or that she's female actually plays no part into the story, which is interesting, you know? Which I think is kind of interesting. But let's go back to the first 15. I mean, they set up everything within the first 15. All the villains and things are shown. Everything is shown. The only thing they don't show near the beginning, no, everything's shown. They like everything in there that shows up is there. Everything. All the characters are pretty much introduced within those first 15 minutes. Although they don't show off the first hero song, which is right after the 16-minute mark because we gave it till 16 because of the logos. And right there, just as like you have part of your world at the 15-minute mark or so for The Little Mermaid, where she's kind of like, and she's rewarded for it. You have Moana hitting that hero, that want song, and she's punished for it. She's given a trauma for it. And then she's like, tells her grandmother, I don't really want to go out there anymore. And her grandma goes, okay, no problem. Like literally, everyone here looks at what Moana does and says, hey, we love you regardless of your choices. We want you to make good choices and to think them out. but will accept you regardless of that, which is a really strong family dynamic. I mean, yeah, they scold her for things. Her father, he has his reasons, and his reasons are perfectly justified in here. But generally, he still, he never puts his love for Moana, his daughter, as a condition for her obedience. And that's actually a thing. Sometimes people will put a condition on their love. And anyone who puts a condition on whether or not they love you or respect you or have any feeling towards you is not a person you should be around. And one thing, there are so many themes about abuse and recovery in Moana. It's just an amazing film, and you really should watch it. Seriously. One thing I also kind of find amusing about it is, later on Maui says that his tattoos are from the victories that he wins, and then you find out a little bit later that they kind of aren't. In fact, they're part of his story, both good and bad. And they're about things that affected him the most, which I thought was an interesting little point that they bring up way later in the film. I mean, because they're the things that affect him the most, both good and bad, in scar tissue and ink, which the presence of tattoos in here is interesting, and that people's personalities or so come out in that, which is interesting that Moana herself is a blank slate, whereas Maui is like the traveled and traumatized character, the one with all the scars. Her scars come from what happens to her when she tries to leave the island, and then the subsequent things that happen to her which she experiences on her way out. She gets injured. She fails at things. She does lose things, and it's important for that. I would have to say that the first 15 minutes of Moana not only set up the entirety of the film and the thesis statement of the film, they set up so many things that pay off later that I would definitely give this one, if I were giving a letter score, I'd give it an A for what it's doing. It's an excellent film, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, that's my take on the first 15 minutes of the Disney film Moana. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the first 15, and if there's any movies you specifically want us to go ahead and do. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that share button. Hit that thumbs up, hit the little bell so that you are notified whenever we have a brand new episode here on Area DMG. And until the next episode comes out, you are now caught up. Morning, Maya.